In the sun-soaked haven of Montecito, where palm trees swayed and opulent estates whispered of freedom, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle faced a tempest that threatened to tear their world apart. The life they had carved out, a bold defiance of royal tradition, a tapestry woe #ven with Hollywood dreams and right OU's rebellion, was unraveling, thread by thread, under the weight of a single, earth-shattering proclamation from King Charles. His decision, cloaked in the cold formality of Buckingham Palace, strew #CKAT the heart of their family, targeting their children, Archie and Lilibet, and leaving Harry shattered, a man broken by the institution he had once called home. The world watched, breathless, as the Sussexes' carefully built empire teetered on the edge of collapse. The seeds of this crisis had been sown long before, in the shadows of whispered rumors and relentless tabloid scrutiny. For years, the British press had feasted on speculation about Archie and Lilibet's place in the royal lineage. Murmurs of surrogacy, discrepancies in birth records, and cryptic leaks from palace insiders had fueled a firestorm of doubt, each headline a dagger aimed at the Sussexes' credibility. Meghan, with her #yielding resolve, had dismissed these as vicious lies, her public appearances a masterclass in defiance, as she juggled Netflix projects and Archie's faltering initiatives. Harry, her steadfast protector, had shielded their children fro #the storm, believing their love and truth would silence the critics. But truth, in the gilded cage of royalty, was a fragile thing, easily twisted by power and protocol. The couple had faced scandals before, accusations of manipulation, betrayal, and media games, but this was a wound unlike any other, one that cut to the core of their identity as parents. On a chilly November morning in 2025, the storm broke. Buckingham Palace released a statement that reverberated across the globe like a thunderclap. King Charles, his voice heavy with the burden of his crown, announced that Archie and Lilibet would no longer hold their titles as prince and princess, a decision necessary to safeguard the monarchy's integrity. The words were vague, deliberately so, but their implications were catastrophic, hinting at unspoken questions of lineage and legitimacy. The internet ignited, with X-posts erupting in a frenzy of outrage and speculation. Hashtags like #royal rejection and #Sussex betrayed surged to the top of global trends, while commentators like Piers Morgan seized the moment, proclaiming on his show, "Is Charles drawing a line in the sand? Harry and Meghan have been cast out for good." Even the reserved BBC ran headlines dissecting the palace's cryptic message, fueling a maelstrom of debate. In their Montecito mansion, Harry sat motionless in their sunlit study, the palace's words echoing in his mind like a death knell. His hands trembled, his face pale as he stared at a photo of Archie and Lilibet, their innocent smiles a stark contrast to the chaos consuming him. Meghan, pacing furiously, clutched her phone, her voice a mix of anger and despair #tie-on. "How could he do this to our children?" she demanded, her eyes blazing. "This isn't about protocol, it's personal." Harry, usually her anchor, could only shrug his head, his heart heavy with the betrayal of a father he had once adored. The titles, meaningless in their California refuge, were a symbol of their children's place in the world, a world that now rejected them. The decision felt like a final severance, a declaration that the Sussexes were no longer part of the royal fold. The roots of Charles's decision lay in a clandestine #any investigation, sparked by a leaked document from a London hospital. The document, purportedly a birth record, raised questions about Archie's origins, suggesting irregularities that palace aides refused to clarify publicly. Whispers of surrogacy, once confined to tabloid fringes, had reached the inner sanctum of the monarchy, where tradition reigned supreme. King Charles, weakened by health struggles and pressured by royal traditionalists, had acted with uncharacteristic decisiveness, your #jed on by Prince William, whose anger at his brother's perceived disloyalty had hardened into resolve. William saw the move as a defense of the crown, a way to end years of scandal and restore order. Catherine, ever the voice of compassion, had pleaded for restraint, her heart torn by the thought of Harry's pain. His still family, she whispered hashtag to William, but the tide was too strong. The public, meanwhile, was split. Some hailed Charles as a protector of royal honor, while others hashtag condemned him for targeting innocent children. Meghan, her spy writ unbowed, rallied their team for a counterattack. Their publicist, a seasoned Hollywood fixer, Propo hashtag said a bold strategy, a global interview to reclaim their narrative, perhaps with Oprah or a friendly network. "We need to tell the world our truth," Meghan insisted, her voice fierce. But the truth was a labyrinth of half-truths and hashtag mistrust, and even she hesitated, haunted by the fallout of past interviews. Netflix, their financial lifeline, was wavering, with executives whispering about canceling legacy reclaimed amid fears of a toxic brand. A leaked email from a Netflix insider branded Meghan untenable, words that stung like a betra hashtag y'all. Harry, meanwhile, was spiraling. He retreated to their garden, his thoughts consumed by memories of his mother, Diana, and the pain of being an outcast. In a tearful call to the rapist, he confessed, "I left to protect my family, but I failed them." His anguish was palpable, etched in the lines of his face as he gazed at the Pacific, searching for answers in the WA hashtag #VES. The world was unrelenting. Ex-posts mocked the couple, with memes casting Harry as a broken prince and Meghan as a calculating duchess. A viral skit from a British comedian dubbed them the Montecito Exiles, racking up millions of views. Even their staunchest supporters faltered, unsure how to defend a hashtag narrative crumbling under scrutiny. Tabloids spun hashtag wild tales of divorce, financial ruin, even Meghan's alleged plans to flee to Dubai with a mysterious billionaire. The rumors, baseless but persistent, cut Harry deeper than any headline, rekindling his hashtag fears of losing everything. In a desperate move, Meghan Dr hashtag after statement, a carefully worded plea expressing deep sorrow, while denying any deceit. "Our children are our heart," it read, "and we will fight for their truth." But the words rang hollow, drowned out by a public ravenous for drama. Harry, unable to bear the weight, sought solace in a letter to his father, pouring hashtag G out his anguish and begging for understanding. "I only wanted to protect my family," he wrote, his words raw with pain. Charles's reply was brief, its tone cold: "The monarchy must prevail." The words seared Harry's heart, a reminder of the institution he could never escape. In London, William prepared for a future without his brother, his resolve fortified by the belief that Harry had chosen ambition over loyalty. Catherine, torn between duty and empathy, sent Harry a private message hashtag urging him to find peace, but peace was a distant dream. As weeks passed, the scandal refused to fade. Ariel bled staff, with insiders citing a chaotic environment, while the couple's social media went silent, a stark contrast to their once vibrant presence. In Montecito, Meghan stood on their balcony, the Pacific stretching endlessly for her, her mind racing with plans to fight back. Harry joined her, his eyes hollow, his voice barely a whisper. "What have we done?" he asked, the vague of their choices crushing him. Meghan turned to him, her jaw set with the hashtag fiancé. "We survive," she said, her voice steady but laced with doubt. "We always do." But beneath her resolve, uncertainty lingered. The world had turned against them, their children caught in a war they hadn't chosen, and as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over their gilded refuge, one truth loomed large: the crown's reach was infinite, and no rebellion